You see, there are a lot of things that fascinate me. And one of the things that fascinates me the most are laws. I know what you're thinking, the law. No. You see, I was not always like this. Growing up, I was actually a lawbreaker, a notorious lawbreaker. When my brother heard that I gained admission to university to study law, he said, not only now would you be a law-abiding person, you will be a custodian of the law. I hope the law is in safe hands. Those were his words exactly. But you would think that graduating with a law degree, the laws that I found the most fascinating would be, legislations, decrees, edicts. No. You see, I hated the conventional laws. The laws that I found the most interesting were actually universal laws. More specifically, the laws of physics. I failed physics, by the way, but this is my TED Talk. You see, the intrigue that I had with these laws were unlike the regular laws that I studied in school. They didn't have penalties. You could not break a scientific law. For example, the law of gravity. What do you want to do? Oh yeah, jump up, don't come down. And as a lawbreaker, I was upset, but yet intrigued by those laws. I remember I stumbled upon a law in physics called the law of inertia. Now, for those of you that missed science class, this is what the law of inertia implies. The law of inertia implies that an object will remain stationary except acted upon by an external force. There's a part 2 to that law. It also says that that object would continue to be in motion except stopped by an external force. Now, for those of you that did arts, it's basically saying that a ball will remain in one position until somebody kicks it. And that ball will continue rolling until somebody stops it. But you see, even though this was a law that governed the physical universe, I came to find that this was a law that did not apply to my own life. It could be the lawbreaker in me. But then let me explain. You see, I grew up in a small town called Oshogbo. And for the purpose of this analogy, Oshogbo, in the state of Oshun, would be my state of rest, according to the law of inertia. You see, I always imagined myself to be a globetrotter, touring the world, entertaining people. I wanted to be a TV star. I had the complex of a small town giant that wanted to live life in a circus. But Oshogbo was, for me, a stationary point. Now, according to the law of inertia, I could not move from point A to point B except acted upon by an external force. But you see, this kind of fueled something in me internally. I had a drive to leave where I was to another destination. And you'd be surprised. I started creating content in Oshogbo, moved to Ibadan, moved to Lagos, and recently clutching the AMVCA. It's safe to say that the ball has been moving. But you see, the force that got the ball moving was internal. And like every successful Nollywood movie, the law of inertia has a part 2. You see, the law of inertia also says that a moving object would continue moving except acted upon by an external force. Now, this is an interesting perspective. You would think that once your ball is in motion, you would continue moving in perpetuity. But you realize that if inertia says an external force can stop a moving object, you are Nigerian. There are a lot of external forces that will stop your ball in motion. But you see, despite all these challenges, I always saw to it that my ball kept on moving. So I pondered on that law again. Now, this is the problem. When you have a lawyer think about a scientific law, we will expand it to unreasonable extents. But I thought of that law again. The law says that an object moved by an external force would be stopped by an external force. Now, this is my own thesis. Could it be that because the force that moved me was internal, so I could not be stopped by external forces? Now, listen to this. I would draw from that to say that a man who is moved from within cannot be stopped from outside, except he stops himself from within. And by that inference, maybe that type of man is the kind of man that would break the law of gravity, because there's only one way from there, and that is up. Thank you, and welcome to my talk.